Hello, this is Todd Schultz, and this is my tort liability screencast-o-matic. The simple definition of tort liability is it's a civil wrong for which remedy may be obtained, usually in the form of damages, and those are typically monetary damages. The more detailed description from the readings describe the legal obligation of one party as a result of civil wrong or injury, and the action requires some sort of remedy from a court system decision. The first case that I found, pretty interesting because I'm a music teacher, was over a simple game of London Bridge falling down. Young elementary age students playing got a little too rowdy. One student fell, split their eye open above the eyebrow, requiring stitches. The teacher claims it was just an accident and that she was attending to another student and hadn't seen the unruly behavior, but the parents thought that it was because of negligent supervision. The district was able to appeal that decision. Now, the parents in my district and staff, I think, would react with concern for the child's injuries, but most would understand that it's a type of accident that happens with or without negligence. And I think in the future for my staff as an administrator, I would make sure they understood the appropriate games to be played and to keep an eye on students who may not want to be a part of more physical type of activities. I would also display the types of tort cases that have come about, so that way at least staff have an understanding that these type of things can lead to court decisions. The second case I researched was Mosley versus Portland Public School District. This is where Cressida Mosley sued over negligence after she was permanently scarred from a box knife that was used on her in a fight. And basically she was saying that the security personnel were not present in that part of the building, nor could they respond to the incident in a timely manner, causing her injuries. We wanted to know if the school is liable for students fighting. And the case went all the way to the Oregon Supreme Court, where the lower court ruled in favor of the district, and also the Supreme Court did as well. In this case, in our school, I think that most students and staff would react with pretty shock and horror because of something so violent being done to another student. And of course, it would be everywhere almost in an instant with modern technology. I think parents would react with accusations going both directions, some against the school, some against the students, some against the resource officers. It would be something to navigate after the incident. I think staff training and security training would be something that would be necessary, keeping all laws in mind when handling students and having to use physical restraint against a student. The third case I researched was Munn versus Hotchkiss School. Kara Munn was a student who was bitten by a tick while attending a school-sponsored trip to China. She was hiking in the mountains, was bit by a tick, and then later developed some very severe neurological damage, leaving her unable to speak. Now, the parents claim that this was the school's fault because they did not indicate that students would be exposed to this type of disease-bearing animal, and that also the school chaperones didn't prepare the students for this kind of hike. The court awarded the plaintiff nearly $42 million in damages, so that was one that really struck me as a big blow to a district and a big loss to a district, not only from the standpoint of money, but also from the standpoint of trust from parents. I think in this case, in the aftermath, I would think that the employees in my school would not believe that this was their fault, but I think that proactive measures would have to be taken ahead of time in order to embark these students on this kind of trip. And I don't believe that professional ethics were at play here. The fourth case I researched was Androzio versus town of East Haven. The district was sued because one of their track coaches did not put the proper safeguards in place, and a student was running around the track, tripped on a bench that was placed on the track, and had a wrist and arm, pretty severe arm injury. The district coach was not found liable for the injuries sustained due to what something I learned very interesting enough is called governmental immunity. This basically states that you cannot win this type of case to benefit one person in a community that's going to have a penalize all the other citizens of that state or area for the benefit of one. And also the incident happened to a voluntary participant off of school grounds and after school hours, so this was another way that the school district was able to win this case against them. Androzio versus the town of East Haven, I would think that I would have my athletic staff trained to a T about what is appropriate at meets, at practices, what kind of things they can actually push kids to do physically, and also the safeguards against students getting hurt, watching for materials in the way of a student getting hurt. Fifth case, Brahacek versus Millard School District. The plaintiff claimed her son died after an injury sustained by a golf club blow to the head. This is something that I actually know very well. This happened when I was in high school to a student when we were golfing in PE. She walked up onto the line where other students were swinging. She got hit on the swing through. It wasn't near as severe as this. She did suffer some broken teeth and also some cuts and abrasions, but no one died in the instance. But it is something that happens, and it happens because I think students maybe don't pay attention fully to the details and the severity of the instructions and the emergency situation that could happen if they cross the line where others are swinging a golf club. In this case, the boy did die. And the court ruled in favor of the family and awarded over $53,000 in damages, saying that the teacher's negligent lack of supervision and inattention to duty was to blame. That is something I would really, really put a lot of pressure on in my staff, is to make sure that they understand the weight of their supervision, that they cannot be on their phones, they cannot be checking social media, they cannot be looking and have their attention other places. Especially when there's golf clubs or other items being swung around at such a high speed where students could be injured or perhaps killed. All in all, I learned a lot from this assignment, and I do appreciate your time.